So the other day, I showed you a prime example of a terrible gym week, like what was going wrong. Today though, I'm in a great mood. I feel great! And I thought, you know what? I'm going to show you guys how to set up for a great gym session, as in like energy-wise and everything. And the first thing is, it starts the night before. We all have those days. We may have only slept like 5 hours, and we wake up the next day, our head feels fuzzy, and even the rest of the day just becomes a write-off. So what you need to do is make sure that you have adequate sleep. Then the second thing is make sure that you are training ideally when you are the most alert. So if you're a morning person, try get out in the morning. If you're not a morning person, don't try force yourself into it, because you'll just be miserable, tired and hungry. Like, I'm typically not a morning person, so I won't train early in the morning ever. I may do cardio in the morning at home because I've got it on the treadmill, but I'll never go to the gym at like 7 a.m. or something. That's just not me. For me personally, midday is the best time. Anyways, we've just pulled up now. I'll go into more things about like potentially training fasted and just things that will kind of set you up for like a better gym session overall. All right, peeps, I'm gonna let the gym footage just play in the background while I talk to you about other ways to try and improve your actual chances of having a very good session. And a quick one, as you'll see me on screen, I'm putting on my gloves. If you're anyone that suffers with RSI, which is repetitive strain injury, or you just train in a gym that's super cold, like these big warehouse type gyms, invest in some gloves. These cold ass bars agitate my RSI, and literally I find it hard to even grip the weights properly, let alone move them. So that's just a quick random tip for anybody out there. Now, as for the main things you can do, for example, I often get asked, isn't it great to like train fasted? Doesn't it keep you more cognitive aware? Because a lot of people say that. And it doesn't. It all comes down to the individual. Don't just try and do a fasted morning workout because someone out there told you that it helps improve your cognitive function and you're more focused, because that's not always the case. I know people that try to do that approach when it's really not in their nature, and they ended up vomiting after their session simply because their body just couldn't perform workouts early in the morning without any food in their system. So it all depends on you. I live by this simple rule that I think you all should follow. If you're actually hungry, do not go to the gym trying to do a workout. There's a difference between training fasted and training hungry and starving. So sometimes for me, where early in the day, when I'm not actually hungry, I'll just still go to the gym. So I haven't had any food in me, so I'm training fasted, but I wasn't hungry. However, if I wake up and I am starving and my stomach's rumbling, I'm not going to go to the gym and try and force a workout. Don't do that. Next up, something else you can do, which I personally don't do, but I will acknowledge that there are some science saying it helps, which is having an intra-workout sweets. It's meant to act as like a quick energy source, like simple carbs. Eat a couple of them and basically it spikes your energy back up to hopefully allow you to perform better. It means that you have more glycogen to use, therefore train a little bit harder without having to like go into those reserves for energy. So that's the kind of main purpose. There's other things as well, such as potentially helps reduce cortisol in your system and things like that. But in reality, most people do it for the little come up during a workout. Next up, you need to hydrate yourself, and when I say that, I mean before the gym. There's many people that they'll wait until like they literally show up at the gym before they start like getting water in their system. You need to do it at least an hour before, because when it gets to the point where you actually feel thirsty, you're already technically dehydrated. Next up, one of the key things for me lately that's been helping me have great workouts, even though you shouldn't rely on it, is a pre-workout. These are the two that I recommend at the moment. Alpha pre-workout for my protein. This range, in my opinion, is the best pre-workout that they have actually came out with. This one is the strawberry laces, and also this is the blue raspberry. Both of these flavors I can co-sign. I would say strawberry laces is looking like a 9 out of 10, nice and smooth. This one tastes good as well, say an 8 out of 10. If you want something that's more the traditional sort of sour kind of zingy flavor, I'd go for the sour apple. It's definitely more of like a, makes your face kind of squeeze up a bit. But yeah, in regards to caffeine, having a good pre-workout gives you that energy just to kind of push a little bit harder. Next up, I've already kind of touched on it earlier on, so I'm not going to go into it too much. Basically, I spoke about trying to get in a better night's sleep the night before. Things that help improve your sleep, sometimes ZMA, the supplement can work. I personally have been using CBD oil, high strength, I get off Amazon. I'll go get it. This here is what I've been using. I get it off Amazon, super high strength. And all I do is use 1 drop of this and you put it under your tongue. It is strong. It knocks me out. Literally within probably about 10-15 minutes, I can feel myself being drowsy when I'm in bed. This one, I kind of hesitate saying, but I have to put it in there because I do think it may be superficial, but it can help. And dress to impress. And when I mean that, I don't mean dress to impress people in the gym. Wear something into the gym that you feel confident in and it makes you feel like you look good. Like, for example, a lot of people nowadays obviously wear the pump covers, and then once they've got into the work and they get into the rhythm, they back it off and they've got something on that they feel like when they look in the mirror, they feel like, you know, fairly decent, they feel confident, they feel proud of what they've built. Something like that can definitely help you. It's like a mental boost. And the one final tip, which I'm going to say is quite important, is don't put too much pressure on the workout. Because I know some people that go into the gym and they're like, today I'm going to have a great session, I'm going to have a great session. But then when they get there, because on the first exercise they plan on hoping for a PR and it never happened, it kind of kills their mood, and then they just kind of feel like the rest of the workout wasn't as enjoyable because that first one, the expectation didn't get met, and it kind of ruined the whole thing. So ideally, you go in there with the ideal optimism, but don't go in there saying, I need to do this, because then if you don't hit it, I've seen many people get deflated simply because they couldn't hit the weight that we're going to hit. So I definitely just go in there with the air of like, the whole aim is to have a good workout, not just have one good exercise. So definitely bear that in mind. And then the more other simple ones, which will kind of help you have a better session, which is things like don't eat like a fairly big meal right before your workout. Try and make sure you have at least 45 minutes or at least say 35 minutes for the food to digest if it's a fairly biggish meal. Personally, I wouldn't have a big meal within like an hour of going to the gym. Maybe a smallish kind of, you know, bagel and eggs or something within 45 minutes. But I would never have like a big steak, potatoes and whatnot, then go to the gym. It's just going to be too heavy and weigh you down. So just make sure that your pre-gym meal isn't too heavy to the point where it's going to impact the session. And realistically, those are the main key things that you can probably change on an almost daily basis. Try and make sure you have the most optimal session going forward. Yeah, I mean, there's other things you can do like that more long term. For example, consuming creatine, which is something that I've actually not long started consistently taking again, which will kind of help because it helps with endurance, strength and all that stuff. But that's something that'll take a while to work into your system, whereas everything else is almost things you can kind of fix almost within like a day or two, and it should start having effect. But overall, in regards to setting up for an optimal session, you have to basically lay down the bricks. And just to clarify, when I say set yourself up for an optimal session, I don't necessarily mean like hit PRs instantly. That can happen when you're in a great mood. It's kind of like a good boost for you. But I more just meant having a good session, whether that's just hitting good volume, so you're not like failing due to muscular endurance, or if you mentally or physically feeling weak. Because purely setting yourself up for like PRs and stuff, I feel like is a little bit more like sometimes a good deload week and stuff beforehand can go into it. So I'm just talking about like having a good session. We can get a nice workout, a fairly decent pump, set the groundwork in. And as for me in particular, it's been 2 hours. I went in the gym today. I typically don't train that long anymore, but I have a lot of energy still in me. Shouts out to the pre-workout. That alpha range with strawberry laces for my protein. I love it, man. I actually do love it. I tried not have it too frequent now because it does get me wired, and I don't want to have too much of a high caffeine tolerance. I only use just over half a scoop of that, and technically the serving is 2 scoops, but because my caffeine tolerance is kind of low, it still gets me buzzed up. So you know what I mean, that's great. But anyways, people, in general, if you're someone that's currently wants to figure out how to get out of your slump of a bad week, watch this video here. But anyways, if you made it this far, please hit the video with a thumbs up. I highly appreciate it.